Throughout the course of this channel, I have covered many topics in the world of Elite Anarchy, ranging from some of the most popular groups on the server to some of the most notable achievements accomplished by those involved in its player base. However, one era of this server's lifespan that I have failed to touch upon is that of the first few months after Elite Anarchy's initial reopening, which is why I am here today to bring you my first ever video covering this era. In today's video, we will be discussing the history behind an impactful group of the early days of Elite Anarchy that seemed to die out before getting their name known. I would know, because this is the group that initially got me started off on the server and ultimately let me join their ranks. However, I would like to note that all of this information will be coming from my own experiences in the group, as all of the other members have long since quit the server. Put on your safety goggles, because we're taking a trip far back in time for this topic. Smash the big red subscribe button to boost my ego, and let us jump right into this video. Now, in order to fully understand where the story of the Saki clan begins, at least, where I was first introduced to the clan, we must delve all the way back to my first ever day on Elite Anarchy. I first joined Elite Anarchy in the October of 2020 while looking for alternative Anarchy servers to play on, since I was interested in trying out Anarchy, but not interested in waiting 7 hours in the 2v2 queue. Upon my first arrival on Elite Anarchy, I, like every new player, was greeted with a vast wasteland of destruction called Spawn. It was then my mission to escape Spawn in hopes of eventually getting myself gear on the server and potentially maining on it. However, my first few attempts of escaping Spawn through the overworld were not successful, so it was not until I attempted escaping through the Nether did things finally luck out for me. Upon entering through the Nether portal, I had entered a hub made of pure obsidian filled with a myriad of players and portal traps. I nevertheless began my travels through the Nether dimension in hopes of finding my way to safety, but as I began to make my way through the treacherous, red terrain, I stumbled upon a player stacked in a full set of enchanted diamond armor, which at the time was pretty intimidating for a new player just starting off on the server. The player in question was a player by the name of Desosa who, instead of slaughtering me like many other players, helped me escape out of the Nether, and ultimately, out of Spawn. We emerged in an area around 30,000 blocks away from 0, where Desosa gifted me my first ever kit and then proposed to me the idea of joining his group along with many other of his friends. I agreed, and I was from that moment on an official member of the Saki clan. Now, if you are like 75% of the player base, you will have no idea who the Saki clan was or what they stood for. Which is exactly why I am making this video, to inform you all of how influential this group was to the server at the time. You see, when I first joined the clan, I was informed that Desosa had ambitions for the clan to simply make Spawn a better place, and for the short span of time Saki thrived, that was what we did. With the help of Desosa, I had finally learned to dupe on Elite Anarchy and eventually helped create a massive dupe stash filled with countless kits, all branded by Saki. We then took these kits to Spawn, where we began our first act of making Spawn a better place by distributing the kits throughout the desolate wasteland and by teleporting to new players that were in need of gear. The kits themselves included a variety of different items to help new players escape out of Spawn and to be successful on the server. These items included armor, elytra wings, enchanted golden apple, and the necessary resources needed for duping. However, distributing kits was only the first part in our plan to make Spawn a better place and to ultimately get our name out there. While the Saki branded kits we had placed around Spawn had done its small part, Spawn was still dreadful at the time. We needed to do more. So, we and the other members of Saki shifted our focus from giving new kits to players to making Spawn easier to escape. We ultimately accomplished this by first renovating the overworld Spawn highways on all axes to make traversing them just a little bit better. However, there have been many attempts to repair the Spawn highways by many players and groups, such as the Highway Crew. However, I'd say that Saki's most notable achievement in making Spawn easier for new players would be the fact that we griefed the old lava wall, constructed by Bomb Inc. that surrounded a 500 by 500 block parameter of spawn. If you are a newer player, you probably would not be familiar with this wall, but to me, it was the most notable landmark of spawn from my first days joining the server. Today, you can see the remnants of this lava wall if you fly out to 250 blocks on any axis. You will then be met with a large lava cast extending from max height to the ground. While Saki had done its part in making Elite Anarchy more newbie-friendly, we were still without a base to call our place of operations and to store our resources. Desosa then approached me and gave me the honorable task of constructing a castle for Saki, where we will house everything we needed for one final plan to change spawn forever. And that plan was huge. We were going to layer water, obsidian and grass to completely make over spawn as the bullet that would forever make spawn less treacherous for everybody. However, something disastrous would happen to the Saki clan that would prevent this. You see, as I was constructing the castle of Saki, I had become acquainted with a player by the name of Dragon01, who shared a common vendetta with me against a player by the name of F5 who was a dictator during his time on the server in my eyes. As a new Anarchy player, I had manipulated my way into gaining his trust and ultimately griefing his bases on multiple occasions. However, despite all of that, I still remained under his trust. Dragon recognized how resourceful I could be to him and asked me if I wanted to join a group he was starting, where he would be recognized as king. At this point in time, the members of Saki had all grown to become inactive, leaving only myself, so I accepted and transferred the unfinished castle of Saki to him. This was ultimately where the war between F5 and King Dragon began, but yet I had no interests in remaining loyal to either of them. Both were dictators and I deemed them both as threats to the server. So I once again manipulated my way to earn Dragon's trust by stating that I'd inside F5 and remained in F5 good books by telling him that I would inside Dragon. Does that sound familiar? Well, as time passed, the castle of Saki had eventually fallen due to a code exploit, leaving me and Dragon without a place to call home. F5 had eventually grown away from the server, so I stood by Dragon's side, griefing any base that he started, yet he never suspected me. Did I like inciting either of them? No. But I was a new player and I did what I felt the server needed. And eventually, Dragon also grew away from Elite Anarchy and has barely been seen since. Unfortunately, I will have to save what happened to me afterwards for an entirely different video. Thank you so much for taking your time to learn a little bit more about the earlier days of Elite Anarchy. These videos are very important in order to bring recognition to the history of the server. I appreciate you all. I will catch you all next week for another upload, which I am very excited about. Take care you all.